All right, let's kick this thing off. Welcome to Counterwave Radio. I'm Niels.
I'm BobbySox.
And I'm Bill.
And folks, it's happening. The pumpkins are barely composted, and we are officially in the zone.
The zone. That magical time of year when every advertisement looks like a deleted scene from It's a Wonderful Life, and every song on the radio implies you should be blissfully happy, preferably while wearing an itchy sweater.
It's the great American holiday narrative, right? The 2.5 kids, the golden retriever, the perfectly roasted turkey, and a family that magically agrees on everything?
Yeah, a prevailing norm if there ever was one. But let's be real. For so many of us, that's not just a fantasy, it's kind of a trap.
It's media manipulation at its coziest. It's designed to sell you things, sure, but it's also designed to make you feel like you're failing if your holiday reality involves, well, reality.
Like navigating grief or dealing with the financial stress of mandatory joy, or sitting across the table from a relative who still thinks Q is a reliable source.
Gotta love that.
Or maybe you're estranged from your family, or you're feeling totally rootless, or you're just plain lonely. That pressure to be happy can be incredibly isolating.
And that's what we're tackling today, because challenging the narrative isn't always about trying to save all of America. Sometimes it's just about reclaiming our own damned peace of mind.
We're also going to talk about something crucial: found family. We'll share some stories about building your own traditions with the people you choose, the people who actually see you and support you.
Because preserving your freedom sometimes just means giving yourself permission to redefine what family and celebration even mean. It's okay to protect your peace.
So, kids, grab your beverage of choice, spiked or otherwise, no judgments here, and stick with us. This one's for anyone who needs a little help getting through. It's called Surviving the Holidays, the guide the Griswolds wished they'd had.
All right, guys, so we have to begin at the beginning and talk about the big thing. One week we were Critical Defiance, and the next week we are Counterwave Radio. I guess you could say we evolved over time. That's really what happened. The show evolved, the audience evolved, the people we attracted to the audience changed over time, and the needs of the show changed. So we decided to evolve with that and take the DNA of Critical Defiance and move forward and do something different. And the goal here, I think, was to do something that was a lot more proactive, where Critical Defiance was very defiant, reactive. We're more about getting ahead of things, talking about reality and the way it stands and what we can do that's constructive or educational.
Yeah. And with the overflow of news, we wanted to stop just reacting to the news and more of, here's the education and backstory and lore that you should have to be able to navigate it yourself.
Yeah, activity only works when there's some limit to what you're reacting to. When it's a perpetual barrage, it just becomes overwhelming to everyone. To us, to the audience, you just can't cope with it.
Yeah. And the truth is, when they flood the zone, if you spend all your time reacting to what they're flooding the zone with, then you're just playing their game. Mm-hmm. So we stopped, and here we are, focusing more on outcomes and tools and things we can do to live our lives in this strange world we live in, and less on rants.
Yeah.
Instead of being reductive, let's be constructive. Let's pass out some useful information.
We have updated our socials. We are everywhere now. We are TikTok, Insta, Threads, Discord.
All of it. As a matter of fact, if you look in the show notes, you'll find our link tree, which lists all of our socials and a whole bunch of other stuff, like where you can subscribe and how you can tell your friends or sign up for a newsletter or, well, you name it. Yeah. So if you could be so kind as to hunt us down and like, link, subscribe, follow, fiddle, and every other thing you can do with a social media platform, share. Yep. Do that, please. We're trying to grow our new socials and get everybody on board and over to Counterwave Radio. So one other important note that goes with all of this: if you were a subscriber of Critical Defiance already, your subscription has been moved over. And if you were an early subscriber to Critical Defiance, you have been gifted a subscription to our upcoming premium service, which gives you access to things like ad-free episodes and deep dives and specials and, well, bloopers and the things that we wish the public didn't see, but what the hell?
But we'll show them to you anyway.
So it is the holidays again. Whether it feels like it's too soon or not, I respectfully think it's a bit too soon, and we're already getting hit with that media manipulation of it's the holidays. Like, Halloween didn't even happen when it hadn't even been Halloween yet when I saw my first Christmas ad on TV.
I saw a friend putting up his Christmas tree 2 nights ago. I went over his house to say hi, and he was in his living room putting lights on a tree. I didn't even know where he got a tree at this point, but he's putting lights on a tree, and it was a real tree. We have a whole episode for Thanksgiving, and they're just going to skip it on us. It's kind of scary. We rail against media manipulation all the time around here, but the holidays are like the Super Bowl for it. Here's my question for the room. What's the one holiday ad or trope you've seen that makes you want to throw your remote at the screen every goddamn time?
Happy Honda Days.
Happy Honda Days. Holy crap.
Yep. Toyotathon gets me too. Like, yeah, that's the spirit of the season.
Yeah, I
don't know if that's regional or national, but it's bad.
Just the
It's
car
horrible.
ones, I think, in general, because I remember still being in elementary school, and the car ones during the holidays are always so many and so obnoxious that, like, I was in elementary school asking, what is 0 down? Why do I know these phrases?
And so many of them feature people giving cars, usually very expensive ones, as gifts. Like,
With a
that
huge
just makes
fucking
the
bubble.
average American feel great, let me tell you.
Yeah,
I can barely afford a cheap car for my own ass, never mind an expensive one for a gift.
Let's drill down, though, like the media manipulation piece of it. How much worse do you think it's gotten, Bobby, with social media? How much worse has social media made it? The pressure to perform holiday joy was bad enough when we were doing it in front of each other, but now we've got to do it for Instagram and TikTok.
Before we even go there, before the actual performance of it on social media, I think the biggest thing is ads used to just be when you went out watching TV, maybe on the radio. Now you have also these holiday ads as a barrage in your pocket constantly. Every app.
And if you're a doom scroller, it just integrates right in there and becomes mind control.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a new place that ads can reach us 24/7. It's almost like fucking Futurama at this point.
Yep.
And now we have this pressure to, I don't know, just perform. You need to have your pictures, your stories, I feel like even social media has exacerbated that weird neighbor thing to fight about who has the most holiday lights up.
Mm-hmm.
Because now we can post videos and do shit, and it's like the holidays
It just
come
adds to the
and
social pressure.
Yeah, and you feel
It
like
adds to the social
the
pressure.
world's eyes are on you.
Yeah, well, now you have to do a broadcast for the world to show them how happy you are, and that's just not fair emotionally.
Yeah.
I don't have enough pressure buying gifts and getting the tree up and making dinner for everybody. Now I got to get a broadcast crew to come in and film my... Please, get away from me.
It's insane. It's insane. Bill, this one's for you. What do you think the most ridiculous holiday expectation that gets pushed on us by the media and the mainstream and society at large is? For me, it's that core idea that everybody's supposed to be blissfully happy and conflict-free for 48 straight hours around Thanksgiving, and then again around Christmas, and then again around New Year's.
I think it's the message that love has a price tag. It began with that almost a century ago, and it hasn't abated at all. If anything, it's grown exponentially.
Talking to you, De Beers.
No, please. That's one of the most glaring examples.
Mm-hmm.
Like Bobby was talking about, Honda Days, happy Honda Days. How do you take a phrase that's so neutral? It offers itself to any holiday you're celebrating.
Neutral.
And
it's
you turn it into a
2025.
goddamn marketing slogan.
I'm surprised they can still use it because at this point, some people hear happy holidays and they think it's a slur.
It's a war on Christmas.
It's a war on Christmas. It's a war on Christmas.
Man the ramparts.
But if I could grab this one, cuffing season, which I know is not a thing that is part of either of your generations.
Yeah, no, when we talked about this when we prepped for the episode, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I just
These
learned
people
about
are
this
weird.
yesterday, so thanks for the culture shock.
It's a phrase I've heard about and known of since middle school, and it's basically the period of time between November and February where you're expected and there's this extra societal pressure to be in a relationship. And it's for many different reasons. Some of it is so you have someone to take to those family dinners. It all feels very performative because a lot of it isn't expected to last past those 4 seasons. It's just
How sad is that?
yeah, be able to have somebody on your arm so, when Aunt Brenda's like, "Why don't you have a boyfriend? Why don't you have a girlfriend?" You don't get that question. And then you have it till Valentine's Day, and I feel like it also goes with the love has a price tag.
There are 2 reasons for it in my mind. One of them is internal, one of them is external. The obvious
Yes.
one is the external one. It's Aunt Nora going, how come you're single? But there's an internal one too. We've been raised and trained in our culture to feel deficient if we are not happily with someone during the holidays. And the holiday season inherently can be brutal for loneliness.
Yeah.
So for some of us, that's the thing that happens even if we're standing in a crowded room from time to time. So how do you guys differentiate that one? The difference between being alone, having alone time, and being lonely during the holidays. Do you guys have isolation issues during the holidays, or have you found ways to just not have that problem? How do you guys deal with this?
I think I at least can tell the difference because sometimes it's being at a holiday party or holiday event and feeling lonely in that big room just because you're there, like, I'm not feeling this happiness that everybody else is feeling, and I'm having a really hard time putting on that face. So I feel like I'm the only one going through it in this room full of 100 people. And that's loneliness versus feeling alone.
Connection. It's my ability to connect with people. If I'm in a room with 3 people or 300, whether I feel lonely or not comes down to whether or not I can connect with someone. And some of that holiday season is about picking the right environments and being choosy about which parties I go to, because I can't connect with the people in some of the environments that I'm invited to.
Mm-hmm.
And why would I do that to myself? Why would I put myself in that situation? It's a holiday season. I want to have fun. I'm going to make those choices in a way that works for me. And that's how I deal with it. That's how I.
And that's setting a boundary and self-care.
Not only sometimes can you not connect with the people, you have absolutely no desire to connect with some of those people.
Right.
Yeah.
When it's Uncle Kelvin, whose main source of information is Q, you want to be as far away from them at the dinner table as possible.
It's usually the ones that feel like obligations that are the ones that you can't connect, or it's going to be a fight to try to connect with people.
I guess about 35 years ago, when I first put down the alcohol and the drugs, I discovered, it took a little while, but I discovered that I actually fucking like myself.
That helps.
And though I am a fairly gregarious and outgoing person when I'm in a crowd or with people or with friends, at heart, I'm an introvert. And I have a lot of things that can entertain me when I'm all alone. And there is a distinct difference between being alone and being lonely.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm that weird, what's the middle one? Like,
You got it weird.
I hate that word. It feels like a weird word, but I feel like I have both introvert and extrovert in me, but actually, like, the extrovert
You're a
inside
non-vert.
of me
You're a non-binary vert.
Yeah, I'm so non-binary.
You're non-verty.
It's in fucking every part of me. No, but, like, my extrovertedness also depends on, can I connect with those people, like Niels was saying. So it kind of all wraps together.
I think that gregariousness really comes down to how well we connect with the people we're around. And if we can in the first place, and if we want to, is a big factor. And that, as Bill said.
And I've even learned how to be gregarious with people I can't connect with.
But why? Why bother?
However, exactly. I would prefer not to.
Yep.
And if you leave me with them long enough, they're going to cross a line.
Yep. I consider dodging those types self-care.
And I'm going to go from perfectly docile to orange jumpsuit in a heartbeat.
I keep one in the trunk for you just in case you slip up.
Is it next
Please
to
do,
my
thank you.
straitjacket that you keep for me?
Yes, I do. Right next to your straitjacket, the garlic, and the steak. Because I don't know which way it's going to go with you.
I'm fine with garlic, so have fun.
Yeah.
Gotta go the hard way.
Listen, folks, we all go through this, and at some level, the grief, the loneliness, the pressure, but we are not alone. For instance, that tense family dynamic. We obviously can't avoid it. We've all got that one relative who listens to way too much, what shall we call it, about alternative news. How do we decide when to engage, when to deflect with humor, or when to just go check on the pies? These are decisions that each of us at some point are gonna have to make.
For me, it is the pies. So growing up, I was like wrapped up in mom's apron strings. I was a mama's boy because dad was off working, so I was home with mom. So when it was holiday season, I was working in the kitchen, always. You have a Cuban mother, you're peeling potatoes. That's the way that shit works. So that was always me. That's my comfy spot. That's my hiding spot. And that's the one place in most homes, not every, but most homes, that you are instantly accepted if you just kind of show up and go, hey, can I help? And for me, that's my exit strategy. That is my way out. Unless the people in the kitchen suck, then I have a problem.
Yeah, I don't know if I could really relate to the kitchen thing at all. Kitchen was not a safe spot. No, you get out of the kitchen. You get out.
See, in my family, if you weren't me, grandma would beat you. So I had my safety net there. I had my safe space in the kitchen.
You know, it's funny. I wonder if that may be part of the reason that I've established this, which we'll talk about later, I suppose, this tradition of the Feast of the Solstice, where I cook ridiculous amounts of food for ridiculous amounts of people. I like to cook. I enjoy cooking, and I am super flipping comfortable in the kitchen, especially when there's 4 or 5 people in the other room that I don't really want to be associated with. I don't mind sticking my head in a hot oven, you know, figuratively.
I was about to say, you have some poetry you want to share?
Although there are moments when literally might be an option.
Yeah, we all have that one aunt or uncle or cousin.
I think for me, for the holidays, avoiding conflict, or I guess engaging in conflict, I gauge on how much I respect the person. If it's someone I really love in my family, that I'm like, all right, what stupid thing on the internet hooked you? Let me give you the facts and tell you why you're a dumb bitch that I love.
Right. Can we do something constructive here?
Yeah. Did you just get lost a few steps along the way? What YouTube rabbit hole did you end up in for a few hours? Let's reverse this. But if it's
Did
someone
Instagram
that
radicalize you?
Yeah.
Like years ago when you tried to convince me that chemtrails might be a real thing.
I did not.
We all know they're a real thing. Ask Lee Zeldin.
Listen.
Talked about him as though there might be some credence, and I was like,
everybody in my age range that experience YouTube has some YouTubers that they watched and now they regret it. And that is all I'm gonna say. No, but also sometimes when I want to avoid the conflict, or sometimes the holidays and being around that many people can be overstimulating. And sometimes what I do is just headphones, find a quiet corner. I need to ground myself for a minute. So yeah, it depends. It's like,
I am myself naturally conflict avoidant. If I can't escape the one-on-one, my first recourse will almost always be humor.
Same.
I'm fortunate enough to have some wit about me where I can usually find something funny about almost anything.
I am a witless cretin, but I can make that funny.
When I can't, it's time to go bake the fucking pie.
Yep.
When I can't, for me, it's time to go get myself baked sometimes.
Yeah, there's that too.
Hey, baking is baking.
One of my favorite approaches to the holiday season is to go check those cookies too.
Go take a walk with the cousins.
When things reach that point, I'm going out for a cigarette. I'm going to take some air or some smoke, whatever. So, what about financial pressure? We have a perpetual media bombardment of advertisements telling us that we need to go spend money after dollar after dollar after dollar to convince the people who already love us and who we always loved that we really love them.
Or love them enough.
What's up with that? What the hell is up with that?
I think the first, line of defense against that media manipulation is remembering that for a majority of people, what counts more is the thought behind the gift, not the price tag on it.
Yeah, and I think that's true in most cases, but we're trained to assign value to money and value to things based on how much money was spent on them, and then map that to the value we place on relationships and people and love. And it really, really, I guess what I'm saying is capitalism screws up the love dynamic between people, because it takes the simple act of exchange of giving a gift for the joy of giving it.
Yeah.
And turns it into a transaction where something's demonstrated. And that's not cool.
I know in America, capitalism generally pushed the love has a price tag, but in the last decade or so, it has gotten
really pushing the envelope.
aggressive. Yeah. It's like if you don't spend a certain dollar amount, even to the point where almost I feel like when you have company parties or job parties and the white elephant minimum every year seems to get a little bit higher. It's 15,
Higher and
now it's
higher and higher.
25, now it's 30.
Or you look at one of the funniest, scariest, weirdest, saddest things I know of, the published official guidance for how much you should spend on an engagement ring.
What the fuck?
Who would have thought?
We're going to have an episode on the diamond industry eventually.
We absolutely are, but it specifies how many months' salary it is traditional to spend on a ring to show her that you mean it and are serious. And that number has been adjusted, of course.
Constantly. It's probably adjusted more frequently than Social Security COLAs.
Not quite, but it exists is fucked up and sad.
And you know what? I'll be honest on my end. I would, if I really loved the person, I would take a fucking welded together paperclip. I don't give a fuck. What do you mean there's a price? That's so gross.
The engagement ring is the modern dowry, but we'll talk about that on the diamond episode.
But here's the thing, darling. I know that you love me, and it's the thought that counts. But did you even spend $50 on this ring?
It just makes me think of, I remember growing up, and I don't know if a lot of people have seen this, but there's this 4-part short Disney Christmas thing that I think is also on Netflix. But the story between Minnie and Mickey is that they both, trade something they really love to buy the other something that they would love. I think Mickey
that requires the thing they traded.
Yep. That's an old fable that Disney adapted called The Gift of the Magi. Yes.
That they retold, yes.
Yes.
It was originally combs and what?
Combs
hair.
And a watch.
She sold her hair. She sold her hair.
To get him a watch.
Box.
Yeah.
A watch case. And he sold his watch to buy her a comb.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be the thought. That's
it
sweet
really
and
is.
sad at the same time. Now it's really just, are you broke for the next couple months because you bought me presents?
We're no longer allowed to believe it's the thought. We've been manipulated to believe it's the price tag. It's the sticker that signifies the emotion.
Yeah, it's how many months of your salary make it worth it. But this is a society where we have The Bachelor, so what do we expect?
So how the hell do we push back on that? I haven't bought a Christmas gift for, I guess, 5 years now.
I think the biggest piece of advice I could give the audience is the thing that I've chosen to do. Make things. The best gift for most people are the ones you make yourselves, whether it's dinner or food or a feast or a gathering.
Or creating a safe space.
Or actually making or building something. Most people have a knack, a skill, a craft, something they can leverage, something they can use, and it might be simple or silly, but it carries so much meaning when we do it ourselves instead of spending money that it gives you not a way out, but a way into giving better gifts.
And sometimes the best gift you can give people is your time.
In addition to all the tense family dynamics and the crippling financial pressures and everything else going on with the holidays, let's face it, they are basically a minefield of grief and memories. There's, whether you're young or old, there always is an empty chair, whether it's from being estranged or from physical loss. How do you make a space for the sadness that brings without letting it hijack the entire day? My own personal solution, back to cooking again. I'm trying to keep traditions alive. Grandma's stuffing, mom's turkey, although we're not doing turkey this year. We're going goose this year, but it's time for a change. Even
fetch me a Christmas goose, BobbySox.
I'll fetch
the biggest goose you can find.
We're going to cook our goose this year.
I don't think I've ever had goose.
Nor have I, but it's time.
All right. Best get Turbo involved.
The hardest thing for me this holiday season is going to be my friend Brian, who I grew up with, who is no longer with us. He left us less than a year ago. And it's funny, we never spent the holidays together, but we grew up every Christmas and Hanukkah with our friends, comparing gifts and talking about what we wanted and being kids. And, that never really quite left me. And I think this year, when I'm doing the holidays, I'm going to have to pour one out for him. Because if I don't, I'm never going to feel right. And it's always funny in retrospect. For me, it's been harder not having him here than, I don't know how to put it. It leaves you with a hole, leaves you with a little void there. And when the holidays come for me, it is best to acknowledge the hole and rather than try and not think about it or distract myself or shun it or hide it or whatever. So that's me this year. I got one I'm going to be remembering, but I think that's part of the point of it for me too, is the remembering. What better time of year to remember the joy that we had together, especially when we were kids, than the holidays. It's bittersweet, but there's some sweet there.
When I make grandma's stuffing, I'm thinking of being in her kitchen when I was 6, 7, 8 years old and watching her make it. It was never written down. I make that stuffing from memory. Same with turnips. And a lot of people hate me for making turnips every year. I love turnips. Every time I'm mashing those turnips, I'm watching my mom with the hand masher. Same thing I use, a hand masher.
I personally have, for the past decade at least now, had a really hard time around the holidays. And in the more recent years, I've dealt with a loss that was first estrangement and then became a physical loss. And it's a difficult time of year. I have mixed memories of good holiday seasons that are outweighed with bad ones. It can be really difficult to not just feel like a flip of depression gets turned on as soon as the holiday music does.
Yeah.
Which is why it's so obnoxious that day after Halloween you go out in the world and it's Christmas music. I think the biggest thing I've been trying to do is make new traditions to try to overwrite the bad memories a little bit, because for some people, for me personally, I don't think I can just flip a switch and be happy during the holidays like society wants us to. I don't think anybody can. So
happy isn't a switch.
So year by year, I just try to, I don't know, I guess make my own happiness, make my own traditions, even if they're weird to people. I have a tradition now that started last year of watching horrible, cheesy horror movies that go with the holidays. Like, what was that Thanksgiving one? You know the name of it, Niels.
Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving, I think.
Thanksgiving, that was the one, yeah.
Thanksgiving, or, those Santa horror movies. And
yeah, I mean, you say Thanksgiving and I think slasher movie just based on my family and my childhood.
I mean, same. There was a year that the turkey got thrown out the side door. So, it's hard for some of us.
There's a trick I'm going to throw at you that I think might be useful for the audience too. Every year, someone I know, a friend, an acquaintance, business associate, somebody makes the same comment. I just don't understand how you're automatically happy every year around this time. I'm not. I just start fresh every year. Every year I walk into it and tell myself it is about this year. It is not about last year. It is not about 20 years ago. It is not about my childhood or my parents or what was. It is about now. It is about what I do today and tomorrow with my friends and my family and the people that I love. Will I make it count or will I not? So I do my best to make it count.
So in the intro, we mentioned the itchy sweater. Let's talk about the performance of it all. At what point in a holiday gathering do you personally feel like you're just an actor reading a script for happy, having good time, food is great family member?
So much of what we do at the things we go to at the holidays. And I think the itchy sweater is a great metaphor because it's something that we go through to put on the show is deal with that itch.
There's only so much socializing I can do as a person before I start to feel a little bit
We
drained.
both have kind of a social fuel tank and we both have smaller than average tanks.
You know how some people have a shorter fuse to their anger? I have a smaller tolerance to being in social engagement. So sometimes, even if I like the people, I can very quickly feel like I'm putting on this act of, yes, I'm still happy to be in this room of many people. I'm having a good time.
I take the authentic approach. If I can't be me, if I can't authentically be me, even if that's sad me or down for the holidays me, whatever it might happen to be in that moment, if I can't be that me, then I'm not going to be with those people. I'm not going to go to that party. I'm not going to do that thing. I make it a point to try and be true to myself during the holidays. It's one of the few things that makes it work for me.
I think sometimes it can be difficult for me because my social tolerance, social meter, whatever we're calling it, even around people I enjoy can go down. I have a select few people who don't drain the tank.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes the holidays can bring up schemas, different schemas. And for people that don't know what a schema is, in your brain, you act differently around certain groups of people, whether you mean to or not. The easiest way to think of it is in school, the different way you would act in a classroom versus in the lunchroom with your friends. So around the holidays, you're around a lot of different social groups that you have in your life, and it's almost like you need to be a different version of you.
You do a lot of schema switching and code switching. Code switching is the other end of it, is when you change your communication style and map it to the people that you're with. And your communication style may be very, very different at grandma's place for dinner than it is back at school or it is in a classroom.
Yeah.
And you may have to flip through those things very rapidly as you go through the holiday season based on the different people you're dealing with. And that is draining. My other piece of advice here is we all have to take time to refresh ourselves during the holiday season. We talk about self-care a lot. And this is one of those seasons where self-care is key. It's important. It should be at the center of your mind. And if self-care means getting up and walking out of the room, or if self-care means not going to the party, then take care of yourself before you do anything else.
If self-care means checking out for a little bit with headphones and just taking that moment so you can be that fun person that you want to be, that's it.
Yep. Do what you need to do to reset and be true to you. That's my two biggest pieces of advice for the holiday season.
Yeah.
So I know we're also in the time where we hear about a lot of gratitude and mindfulness, which can sound, I don't know, cliche, but is there a practical non-bullshit way that you found that actually works to feel real gratitude or peace?
I every day run myself through a mental exercise where I ask myself a few questions to set my head up for the day. And I do it in the morning, and they're pretty much always the same. I've been doing it for decades. One of the questions I ask myself is, what am I grateful for and who? So I don't have a day where I don't think about that, generally speaking, unless I'm way off. That's my angle. If you want to look for ways to start dealing with and working with gratitude, just start acknowledging it. Just start acknowledging what you're grateful for and who you're grateful for. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. You just have to be conscious of it.
It will stay with you. Maybe not for an entire 24 hours, but long enough to get through the 8 hours of work or the 15 hours of party.
I think if you're someone who relates to me in any way, where this time of year the word grateful also conjures up pictures of those hand-drawn turkeys and stuff we'll talk about more in the next episode, just put a different word to it. Make it the things that make you happy. What does this bring you joy? If you have to do it that way, do it that way. Put a different spin on it. Make it the things
Marie
that
Kondo.
make you... Exactly. Make it a meme. Make it the things that make you happy. It doesn't have to be the word grateful, because I know there is, and there has to be some of our listeners, but there's a part of my generation at least that we hear grateful and we're like, It is time to trace your hand and write 5 things you're grateful for in the turkey fingers.
Macaroni picture time.
Yes.
One of the biggest things I know we're all grateful for, and we are it for each other, we can be transparent about that with the audience, but is found family.
Yeah.
Right? It's a huge thing for us because family for the three of us means something different than it does for, I don't know, the average American as portrayed on TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And family is different for everyone, especially this time of year. I do want to highlight found family also in the sense of the queer community, because it is something
one of the
that
places
isn't
where it's
talked
the
about.
most important.
Yeah. Found family is very important. Friendsgivings, things like that. It's important to everyone.
Yep. So before we go on, Bobby, you talked about feelings of loneliness and you talked about found family and you talked about how that impacts people in the LGBTQ community, but it impacts people outside that community too. It impacts a lot of people from every walk of life. We have lessons we can teach them though on how to deal with it, I think. And I think the biggest one is reminding people that your family is who you love and who loves you, who you connect with the deepest, who you trust the most, not necessarily who you're born with. So I think step one is acknowledging that is that family can be found in the first place.
Another big thing to acknowledge is that you really can make your own traditions, and that sounds kind of weird and daunting because I think some of us think of traditions that it needs to be something that's been done for the past century.
But all traditions started somewhere.
Exactly. If it's only been done for the past century, someone you probably have a photograph of started it.
Yeah, and if it's something you don't like, you don't vibe with, it doesn't make you happy, start a new one. Start an unconventional one.
As a matter of fact, we're going to do a whole episode on this a couple down the line this holiday season, so stay tuned.
I started the Feast of the Winter Solstice because I was tired of trying to figure out who I'm going to see on Thanksgiving and who I'm going to see on Christmas. No, we're going to take a weekend in the middle of those two holidays and we're all going to get our sad asses together.
So, Bill, you mentioned the Q relative. What about the relative who isn't extreme but is just casually bigoted or insensitive or ignorant? Is that an easier or harder conversation to navigate than the full-blown the earth is flat conversation?
You know what? For me, it's a harder conversation. The full-blown conspiracy theorist, I can inwardly laugh at while I deflect with humor or go cook a pie. The people who clearly have some rational basis for thought and an IQ level above 42 drive me batshit when they say stupid stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
I get angry.
Because you know they know better.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's much more difficult for me. The fully whacked out there, Jewish space lasers and pizza parlor pedophiles, those people I can tune out.
Yeah.
People I care about who I know have at least an average, if not above average intelligence, when they say stupid stuff, when they say bigoted stuff, that makes me just go from 0 to orange jumpsuit.
Damn, is that going to be a new merch shirt? That needs to be a new shirt. 0 to orange jumpsuit. Tagging that now. Jesse will do something with it. I think personally, I've been lucky enough that, growing up and when families were more obligations and blood family, the bigoted conversations happened, but I was small enough to I was still at the kids' table, so I didn't have to deal with it that much.
See, I have some relatives that are super racist, but otherwise really cool people. So it's just like casually in there. Like they're otherwise great people, except, that.
Yeah.
And you're like, what do I do with you?
Yeah, that infuriates me because you want to like them, but they make you hate them.
Uh-huh.
At this point, I have enough of a mix of found family and blood family that I'm not really around people during the holidays that say that real stupid shit. Or I know the 3 or 4 things that I don't agree with that they believe, and that doesn't get brought up.
Yeah, I've managed to mostly engineer a life that excludes them.
Yeah.
And that's all the time we have for today. We genuinely hope this helped, though. If your main takeaway this holiday season is just giving yourself permission to not be okay, that's a win.
Remember, tradition is not a contract you're forced to sign in blood. Your mental health is more important than your Aunt Karen's expectations.
Protect your peace. Build your own community. Challenge the narrative that you're supposed to feel a certain way. That, right there, is an act of defiance.
Thanks for listening to Counterwave Radio. I'm Niels.
I'm BobbySox.
And I'm Bill.
We'll be back next week. And folks, if you thought this episode was about challenging holiday norms, wait till you hear the next one.
Oh, yeah. We're sticking with the holiday theme, but we're pulling the lens way back. We're talking about that big, foundational American meal.
Yeah, that's right. We're talking about Thanksgiving. But not the one you learned about with construction paper, hand turkeys, and friendly pilgrim hats.
We're talking about what actually happened. We're peeling back one of America's most powerful and most manipulated founding myths to tell the real story of the first Thanksgiving.
So yeah, we're going to talk about real family trauma.
See you then.
You've been listening to Counterwave Radio. Your guides were Niels, BobbySox, and Bill. Jesse made us sound smart in the studio, and Skeeter helped with the research. Now, go kickstart a conversation on our Discord, in socials, or over at counterwaveradio.com.